Hello, Jesse Good here. Today I'm taking a look at the Dinosaur Fossils Tyrannosaurus Rex Jurassic World direct-to-consumer set. Well, more based on Jurassic Park for the minifigures. This released earlier this month in March 2025 at LEGO stores and Shop at Home, retailing for $250 in the United States. This was sent to me early to review from LEGO, but all opinions are my own. As you can see, this is a huge set that could barely fit into my review station. Clocking in at 3,145 pieces for the entire set. Both minifigures are exclusive and based off the archaeological dig scene from the first Jurassic Park movie. The design of Ellie Sattler has a fantastic new torso print as well as dual molded arms, which are really nice. And the face print is completely new as well, where you have a new expression, definitely giving off Laura Dern vibes. The alternate face print is awesome as well, where you have the sunglasses from that scene. There's some torso printing at the back. Then we have a new Alan Grant minifigure, who I love the torso print of. While these aren't dual molded arms, they have arm printing, which looks fantastic. Torso is new as well at its base. We have some new leg printing, a new face print. There's some torso printing at the back, and then the alternate expression with the sunglasses from that scene. All this is great. The T-Rex skeleton is a gorgeous and elaborate build. This looks great from like every angle, though I guess you would want to display it this way because of the plaque. Regardless, starting with the head, the design of this is extremely similar to a build that was released as a separate $40 set last year, which was the T-Rex fossil head set for Jurassic World. So they just kind of replicated that with some slight changes. But of course, this has a whole neck connection, which has a new set of pieces. We'll get to that in a little bit. For now, even if the build of the head isn't exactly original, it fits perfectly. It's in the scale of the rest of the set. I mean, it has a great amount of sharp angles captured here, and it definitely looks exactly like what it's trying to capture, in my opinion. The design of the jaw can move very easily up and down, and I like how that's connected. And from the front, I like the detailing there. Sorry, I'm no fossil expert, so I just appreciate this at a distance of, oh yeah, this is just a great build. The design of that neck connection uses 5 completely new pieces, which I find fascinating. But my gosh, this is like an extremely posable headpiece where you can move this all around and push it all the way to the upside down. It's a very sturdy and posable connection, and I'd love to see those sets of pieces used in different builds beyond this set. For the actual neck beyond the joint, you'll notice a lot of these tail pieces. So yeah, they're not used as tails in the set, but rather used as bone ends, with a design in this tan color. And here they're clipped on with that shaft piece, which gives it a posability that's not intentional, but rather used to get a specific angle. All of that looks great. As for the arms, these are connected with a configuration using that Technic angled piece. The design having a studded base, but then there's a miniature ball joint where you get some posability at the lower half of the arm, but really this is connected to the other side of the arm, so you just move this whole front part. And you'll notice that there's even more miniature ball joints with the tiny little hand, and those have some at the base and then at a middle section, and that's hilarious. And I like the little clipped on claws, which also have some posability. A similar but more elongated build for the bones are used for the ribs. And if you're wondering about this top part right here, which is a really solid brick build topped off with a cheese slope, these are the cervical and dorsal vertebrae, and that looks great, and it's really fun to run your hand on that. It is a lot more sturdy than some of those rib clipped on connections, which tend to break off easier than I'd hope. Also, there's a really fun Easter egg inside this section of the build, where while you're building it, there's a little steering wheel and frog inside there. Of course, a reference to frog DNA being used for the Jurassic Park dinosaurs. The brick and slope builds continue at the hip vertebrae. The design of this also has a plate build, which surrounds this little hip connection, which is actually using a ball joint inside there for the legs. And the legs themselves are a very interesting build where they're different on both sides. You can see how they have different positions. And this captures some great angles, which are also using some ball joint connections. And the design of these are smoothed out using some slope pieces and some shield pieces, which look great. The foot of the legs resting on a ground build, and the design of those have details for the claws at the feet. And again, you have a similar build on the opposite side, but with some differences, especially with how it's positioned. But we have the same idea where all this leads down to a build with the claws, the design of which are rested on a ground build. I know I said claws for both of these, but they're really clawed talon builds if you want to get more specific. Which I forgot to point this out on the other side, but these clawed talons have individual ball joints for movement. And there's a clipped on talon towards the back. There's also the build for the pubis, which the design of this is shaped well. I like the use of this piece with the plastic bottom rubber top point, which I remember from back in the day with the Crystal King, but this is in an all tan color. My favorite part of the build is the tail. I love how swishable this is, where this uses different points of multiple miniature ball joint connections, which allows the design to sway back and forth at different locations. And those modified 2x2 plates with the receiving hole piece. It's really fun to move around, though it is quite a repetitive build. And if you think the build for some of those bone connections are loose, the build for some of these hinge connections at the bottom of the tail, which is repeated a lot of times, is actually really loose and kind of annoying. I wish those were just a bit more secure, and it's also annoying to line those up all right. So that's it for the build of the T-Rex. I'm no fossil expert, so I hope I got everything covered and everything right, but I doubt I did. The design of this uses these black stand builds, which is actually how they recommend transporting this build. And those are on there extremely sturdy. And no, you can't remove the T-Rex from this stand. But all of that leads to, again, part of a ground build, but also part of a plaque build. The design of this plaque right here is a fantastic new printed piece exclusive to the set. I remember when stands like this for direct consumer sets would be stickers, so I quite appreciate the print here. And we have that archaeological dig section, which is a small build to put your two minifigures, and that looks great as well. Then there's a little hidden reference at this side rock build where you could remove this front part, and there's a new printed tile right there, which I love the T-Rex fossil. Again, I appreciate that these are prints and not stickers. This set is loaded with these geode pieces with a translucent orange, which I believe this color combination is exclusive to this set. There's a total of 8 scattered across these rocky builds at this stand base, so that's really awesome. There's also, on the opposite rocky build of this stand base, a mosquito amber piece. The design of this is the print that's been used for other 2025 sets, with the Triceratops skull from earlier in this year, and then with the upcoming large Jurassic World rebirth set. The Craggy rock builds are really cool looking and just add to the detailing of the stand, while the middle section of the stand is a very boring black base. So yeah, I do like the addition of those rock designs. I think that's it with the build of this set. I can't believe I finally finished covering this one. Let's take a look at the packaging where, yeah, the box for this is so big for my display stand. This is one of those that you can remove the front lid for. You got some cool detailing at the top and at the back of the box. And we do get 3 instruction booklets, which give us some details from the film and everything there. I always like the premium direct-to-consumer instruction booklets. So overall, I don't think a lot of people will agree with me that this is better than the gate build from Jurassic World. The design of the gate build I liked the minifigures for, but I didn't really love the design of the dinosaur and even the gate in theory with the back being like different scene spots. I mean, the front looked pretty darn cool. This is a very elaborate build at $250, where it seems like direct consumers are getting ridiculously priced. I mean, as with smaller sets. The design of this just feels very substantial for the price. The only thing that would be lacking is the minifigures, but the 2 minifigures are fantastic in my opinion. I don't know what other minifigures you would add instead of just throwing random minifigures in here. And I do love the detailing and size of this fossil, which is so much bigger than that original Gate Dinosaur direct-to-consumer Jurassic World set. I also like the articulation on the build, despite being something that's fixed to a stand. So with all things considered, I think this is a beautiful display piece. It doesn't feel overpriced at $250. I'd give this an 8 out of 10. I really love this set. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks again to LEGO for sending me this, but just because they sent me it doesn't mean I went easy on this set. I genuinely do think this is a great set. Subscribe here for more of my LEGO experience and honest LEGO takes, and I'll see you later. Peace out.